convention in Kansas City. Here's NBC's coverage.
Governor Reagan will not speak. We finally got the word from him after being told by party officials that he would. The sergeant at arms was sent from the rostrum up to his box to tell him the arrangement had been made, and on his arrival he was told by Reagan, no, you did not want to speak, and so that appears to be settled. Now Senator Dole is on the rostrum to make his acceptance speech as Vice President. Press in Kansas City has been busy all afternoon making Ford and Dole posters. There's only one kind of poster on the floor that we can see. White letters on a blue background. Everyone seems to have one, with some glaring exceptions. Some delegations are remaining in their seats, waving no signs, not applauding, cheering, or taking any part in this. One of them is California. Senator Dole has a lot of friends in the party, gained through many years of membership and being its national chairman for 2 years. At 71 to 73, you'll see a lot of that in cartoons this year, the pineapple. That's the Secretary of Agriculture. You said earlier that when the chairman of the North Carolina delegation this morning came in and said the nominee was going to be Dole, somebody said, what is that? Some kind of pineapple?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, fellow Republicans and fellow Americans, let me say at the outset, when I was here as temporary chairman, I didn't plan on coming back this evening, but I'm very happy to be here. Needless to say, I want to express my thanks for President Ford for calling me this morning. I'm most pleased that I was in the room when he called. I want to thank Vice President Rockefeller for that very wonderful nomination speech, and of course Peggy Pender and Art Fletcher and Paul Laxalt for their seconding speeches. I want to thank Mrs. Williams for being here tonight and assisting me in assisting other Americans. I listened to the earlier newscasts, and many were saying that Dole is not a household word, but it is a four-letter word you can get used to. I hear shouts of louder. Can you hear me in the back? Turn around.
Eat that microphone.
You do? Okay. I stand before you tonight proud of the confidence our President has shown in me, gratified by your trust, humbled by this new opportunity to serve the nation we love, and determined to work with all my heart to ensure 4 more years of Republican leadership in the White House. President Ford's administration began with a prayer, trusting in a just and beneficent God and in the courage and wisdom of goodwill of our people. The President accepted stewardship of our nation in one of the most difficult times in our history. With the help of God, with the goodwill of our people, and with his courage, compassion, and wisdom, America has weathered the storm. Today there are those who tell Americans to lower their expectations. America was not built by men and women with limited vision and small hopes and low expectations. It was built by men and women with tomorrow on their minds. It was built by believers, by those who could look across the broad sweep of a bounteous land of unbounded opportunity and see possibilities none before had ever dreamed of. In their eyes, the future gleamed brightly, and upon their achievements we live today with more freedom, more opportunity, more dignity, more wealth, and with greater obligations than any people before in history. My fellow Republicans, we need not ask the American people to lower their expectations. Rather, let us ask them to raise their sights ever higher, as they have always done in the past. Let us do so with confidence, which comes with the knowledge that we have a president who has met and will continue to meet the highest expectations of the American people. We have heard much about offering the American people a choice this year. I believe we should. I believe we do. The eyes of the world and the hopes of those who are free and those who wish to be free focus on this country. Wherever tyranny reigns in this world, it reigns through the instruments of government. All history tells us that to maximize government is to minimize human freedom. And I believe that the promise of America is not told, nor shall it be fulfilled, through the oppressive constraints of government. The question and the purpose of human liberty are not the rights of government, the dignity of government, or the future of government. Rather, they are the rights of the individual, the hopes and dreams of the individual, the dignity of the individual, and the future of humanity itself. We have written a long and noble chapter in the history of human liberty. We have proved that it works, that the powerful engines of freedom pushes mankind further toward justice, toward equality, toward prosperity and security than government ever managed to drag humanity in those directions. And so, my fellow Republicans, let us not define ourselves in terms of what we stand against, but in terms of what we stand for. The wisdom of what we stand for is demonstrated in the record of the great and good man who leads the nation today. In the wake of Vietnam, many felt that the will of our people was so sorely tried that we would not have the strength to wage peace in the world, to halt aggression before it began. But President Ford understood that a free people are never too tried to defend their freedom. And so where our rights and interests have been threatened, he has responded, and upon the evidence of America's will to stand fast for what it believes, a structure of peace is being erected in the world. And in the wake of a continued inflation and recession, there are those who argue the best medicine for a crippled economy was to cripple it further. They advocated the short-term solution for long-term disaster, believing the American people were unwilling to make the necessary sacrifices to restore prosperity to our land. They were wrong. President Ford knows the way back to prosperity is through persistence and perseverance, yes, and through sacrifices. The way back to a healthy economy has been difficult and painful, but by refusing to resign us to the seductive fantasies of more government spending, President Ford has persisted, he has preserved, and he has prevailed. He has suffered abuse. He has endured accusations about his concern for the jobless. He has borne with patience those who have questioned his compassion for the poor. And he has put this economy back on the road to good health. The shrill denunciations of those who oppose his economic policies come not from concern that he might fail, but from desperation at the fact that he is succeeding. And he is succeeding, my friends, because he has placed his faith in the American people and not in the discredited gimmicks of government. And my fellow Americans, President Ford has begun the great work of building peace, renewing prosperity, and restoring confidence in the basic institutions of freedom in America. But there is much more to be done. We are at peace with the world, but the world is not at peace with itself. We live in a dangerous world, and the danger for us is lessened only by the fact that those whose ambitions might exceed their common sense know what the President of the United States of America stands for. And here at home, there are still those who believe in government rather than people. We have, for example, a Congress which lurches along in a search for more and more ways to gain control, not merely over the way we live, but over the purposes for which we live, which ought to be left to the decision of the hearts and minds of each single individual. The freedom and sovereignty of our land count for nothing if they're not matched equally by the freedom and sovereignty of every American. Today, our business and industries continue to be burdened by endless, confusing government regulations. Certainly, we must have laws that govern the private sector and how it conducts itself, just as we have laws that govern how our people conduct themselves. But just as we must avoid legislating freedom, creativity, and initiative out of the lives of our people, so we must also avoid legislating these virtues out of our system of free enterprise. And in my opinion, we have to free the free enterprise system. Until we get government out of the business sector, we're going to have difficulty getting people back into jobs that are real and productive. Until we get government out of the credit markets, business will be unable to expand as it ought to and employ more people. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is work to be done. Until we break the stranglehold of the party of big government over the Congress of the United States, we're going to have more federal spending, more federal control over our private lives, and more empty promises that leave our people disillusioned and frustrated. And let us not be deterred or discomfited by those who interpret the long and hard-fought primary campaign as a sign of division in Republican ranks. Let us rather take pride in the knowledge that the battle was honorably waged and honorably won. Let us rather take pride in the fact that we had two such men as President Ford and Governor Reagan to contend for this nation's leadership. And let us recall that hard-fought battles have never hurt our party. It was just such a contest in 1952 that gave us Dwight David Eisenhower. And President Eisenhower gave us 8 years of peace and 8 years of prosperity. And President Ford will do the same. You have honored me tonight by giving me the opportunity to help the President continue the work he has begun. I mean to be worthy of that honor. In this bicentennial year, we have the opportunity to restore to those principles upon which America was founded 200 years ago. It is for us now to determine whether we shall be the designers of our destiny or the victims of it. America was founded upon the belief that men and women had the right to be free. Our Republican Party was born in the struggle to preserve and extend freedom. Our task today and tomorrow and the week following and the month following is nothing less than to further the principles of freedom upon which our nation and our party were established. And so our task today and the days and weeks ahead must be to ensure the election of a president who understands those principles and lives by them and leads this nation by them. With your help, with the help of the American people, and with the help of Almighty God, we shall succeed. And I again thank you very much.
From the